Listening, fill in the blanks.
Let's start.
The best way to learn English is to come to class regularly and to do your homework. If you miss several days of classes, for any reason, you cannot keep up with the other students. The Language and Culture Center is a serious academic program in intensive English and wants all of its students to succeed. Therefore, students are expected to attend all classes regularly, do all classroom assignments, meet all class requirements, and make academic progress. Students who do not meet these standards may be placed on academic probation. Students placed on academic probation will meet with their teachers and with either or both the associate director and foreign student advisor. Students will be informed in writing of the terms and length of their probation.
Psychologists have long held that a person's character cannot undergo a transformation in any meaningful way and that the key traits of personality are determined at a very young age. However, researchers have begun looking more closely at ways we can change. Positive psychologists have identified 24 qualities we admire, such as loyalty and kindness, and are studying them to find out why they come so naturally to some people. What they're discovering is that many of these qualities amount to habitual behavior that determines the way we respond to the world. The good news is that all this can be learned. Some qualities are less challenging to develop than others, optimism being one of them. However,
The Banda Islands were ruled by local sultans who insisted on maintaining a neutral trading policy towards foreign powers. This allowed them to avoid the presence of Portuguese or Spanish troops on their soil, but it also left them unprotected from other invaders. In 1621, the Dutch arrived and took over. Once securely in control of the Banda S, the Dutch went to work protecting their new investment. They concentrated all nutmeg production into a few easily guarded areas, uprooting and destroying any trees outside the plantation zones. Anyone caught growing a nutmeg seedling or carrying seeds without the proper authority was severely punished.
One fascinating use of active electroreception, known as the jamming avoidance response mechanism, has been observed between members of some species known as the weakly electric fish. When two such electric fish meet in the ocean using the same frequency, each fish will then shift the frequency of its discharge so that they are transmitting on different frequencies. Doing so prevents their electroreception faculties from becoming jammed. Long before citizens band radio users first had to yell, "Get off my frequency," at hapless novices cluttering the airwaves, at least one species had found a way to peacefully and quickly resolve this type of dispute.
There was only one obstacle to Dutch domination. One of the Banda Islands, a sliver of land called Run, only 3 kilometers long by less than 1 kilometer wide, was under the control of the British. After decades of fighting for control of this tiny island, the Dutch and British arrived at a compromise settlement, the Treaty of Breda, in 1667. Intent on securing their hold over every nutmeg-producing island, the Dutch offered a trade. If the British would give them the island of Run, they would in turn give Britain a distant and much less valuable island in North America. The British agreed. That other island was Manhattan, which is how New Amsterdam became New York. The Dutch now had a monopoly over the nutmeg trade, which would last for another century.
Certainly, any prospective time travelers may have to overcome more physical and logical hurdles than merely overtaking the speed of light. One such problem, posited by René Barjavel in his 1943 text, Le Voyageur Imprudent, is the so-called grandfather paradox. Barjavel theorized that, if it were possible to go back in time, a time traveler could potentially kill his own grandfather. If this were to happen, however, the time traveler himself would not be born, which is already known to be true. In other words, there is a paradox in circumventing an already known future. Time travel is able to facilitate past actions that mean time travel itself cannot occur.
We know from research that the reading circuit is not given to human beings through a genetic blueprint like vision or language. It needs an environment to develop further. It will adapt to that environment's requirements, from different writing systems to the characteristics of whatever medium is used. If the dominant medium advantages processes that are fast, multitask-oriented and well-suited for large volumes of information, like the current digital medium, so will the reading circuit. As UCLA psychologist Patricia Greenfield writes, the result is that less attention and time will be allocated to slower, time-demanding deep reading processes.
The possibility that critical analysis, empathy, and other deep reading processes could become the unintended collateral damage of our digital culture is not a straightforward binary issue about print versus digital reading. It is about how we all have begun to read various mediums, and how that changes not only what we read, but also the purposes for which we read. Nor is it only about the young. The subtle atrophy of critical analysis and empathy affects us all equally. It affects our ability to navigate a constant bombardment of information. It incentivizes a retreat to the most familiar stores of unchecked information, which require and receive no analysis, leaving us susceptible to false information and irrational ideas.
Tickling is caused by a light sensation across our skin. At times the light sensation can cause itching, however, most of the time it causes giggling. If a feather is gently moved across the surface of the skin, it can also cause tickling and giggling. Heavy laughter is caused by someone or something placing repeated pressure on a person and tickling a particular area. The spots tickled often are feet, toes, sides, underarms, and neck, which cause a great deal of laughter. Ingvi Zoderman from Karolinska Institute has found that tickling sensations involve signals from nerve fibers. These nerve fibers are associated with pain and touch. Also, Zoderman has discovered tickling sensations to be associated not only with nerve fibers.
Excellence does not emerge without appropriate help. To reach an exceptionally high standard in any area, very able children need the means to learn, which includes material to work with and focused challenging tuition and the encouragement to follow their dream. There appears to be a qualitative difference in the way the intellectually highly able think, compared with more average ability or older pupils, for whom external regulation by the teacher often compensates for lack of internal regulation. To be at their most effective in their self-regulation, all children can be helped to identify their own ways of learning, metacognition, which will include strategies of planning, monitoring, evaluation, and choice of what to learn.
Like, share, subscribe the channel, and press the bell icon for further updates.